Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the regular meeting of Osoyoos Town Council, May 6, 2019, 2 p.m. in Council Chambers. So first up is the adoption of some minutes. Committee of the Whole minutes of April the 15th, the Parcel Tax Roll Review Panel minutes of April the 15th, and the regular open minutes of April the 15th. Could I have a motion, please? Councillor Rhodes, Councillor King, all in favor. Thank you. Business arising from prior minutes, none. Introduction of late items, we have the two, am I correct? So one is the bylaw enforcement officers patches, and the other is a request for funding from the Odd Squad drug presentation. So those two will be added under business 4 and 5? Yeah. Okay, thank you. And so we need a motion, please, to adopt the agenda as adapted. Thank you. Councillor Bennett, Councillor Rhodes, all in favor. Thank you. And first up, we have a delegation and the 2018 audited financial statements from the town of Osoyoos and the Sun Bowl Arena, and we will have a report from Mr. Zackel and from the Grant Thornton auditors. Am I correct?
Thank you, Mayor McCordoff. So before Council is the 2018 audited financial statements for the town of Osoyoos and Sun Bowl Arena. This is to present the audited financial statements for Council's approval. The town's auditors, Grant Thornton, have completed the audit of the town of Osoyoos and Sun Bowl Arena and have prepared the 2018 financial statements for your review and approval. I've reviewed all of our accounts and confirmed the accuracy of the numbers. Tessa King of Grant Thornton is in attendance and will present her audit opinion to Town Council for the town of Osoyoos and Sun Bowl Arena financial statements. And once she's done that, I'll just touch on the highlights of this year's activities.
Good, thank you. Welcome.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Mayor and Councillors. My name is Tessa King from Grant Thornton, and I'm here today to present Town of Osoyoos and Osoyoos Sun Bowl Arena audited financial statements for the year ended December 31st, 2018. Management is responsible for the preparation and fair presentation of these financial statements in accordance with Canadian public sector accounting standards. Our responsibility as the auditors is to express an opinion on these financial statements based on our audit. An audit involves performing procedures to obtain audit evidence about the amounts and disclosures in the financial statements. We believe the audit evidence we have obtained is sufficient and appropriate to provide a basis for our audit opinion. As such, in our opinion, the financial statements present fairly in all material respects the financial position of the town and arena as at December 31st, 2018, along with the statements of operation, change in net financial assets, and cash flows for the year ended in accordance with the standards. We would also like to thank Jim and Phyllis and everyone else on staff. It was always a pleasure to work with them. The audit went very smooth this year as a result. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
So some of the highlights from our financial statements. Page 4 is our statement of financial position. We had an increase in net financial assets of $2,133,005. Brings it to balance of $8,329,061. Our accumulated surplus has increased to $77,829,845. And this is and $62,417,699 is equity in tangible capital assets. On our statement of operations, our annual surplus for 2018 was $6,023,225. Of this, the portions referenced below are the cash surplus for the three funds, being our general, sewer, and water, and it totaled of $1,284,394.22. Our general fund had a cash surplus of $689,417, and these surplus cash funds came from cemetery revenues being over, Fortis franchise fees, miscellaneous revenue, landfill and MMBC revenues, development services revenues, return on investments, federal and provincial grants, Our expenditures that were under budget were our legislative expenditures, administrative expenditures, civic building expenditures, data processing and support, insurance and claims, our election costs, training and travel, bylaw enforcement, development services, community development, transportation, landfill, cemetery operations, Sonora utilities, and parks. Our sewer fund had a cash surplus of $377,864, and this came from sewer connection fees of $246,320 and a balance from sewer expenditures being under budget. Our water fund had a cash surplus of $228,112, and this came from our water expenditures being under budget. So on page 11 under notes, our cash 2018 balance was $8,437,022. This is up from $7,892,661 in 2017. Note 4, accounts receivable. Our 2018 balance was $2,199,514, and this was up from $1,326,000 in 2017. There were a number of significant receivables at year-end, including Ministry of Transportation and Highways, $822,000, Provincial Emergency Program, $111,503, Sewer Infrastructure Grant of $222,448, and the Water Twinning Grant for $370,800, and all of those large items have been paid in full as well, just to note. Under Note 5, accounts payable and accrued liabilities. Accounts payable and accrued liabilities are $1,517,100 for 2018. This was down from $1,910,575 in 2017. Under deferred revenue is $2,661,829. This is down from $2,804,026 in 2017, and it's mainly due to the utilization of our Community Works grant funding that we used in 2018. Our Community Works Fund balance is $235,998 as of December 31st, 2018. Under our deferred development cost charges on Note 7, Parks DCCs have increased by $13,049 for a balance of $728,384. Road DCCs has increased by $10,218 for a balance of $556,863. Water DCCs have increased by $4,192 for a balance of $228,451. And sewers increased by $4,335 for a balance of $211,652. Our storm drain DCC account is still in a negative balance. It increased by $1, but still borrowed from Parks DCC $17,181. Under Note 8, long-term debt, General Fund is increased by $56,765 for a total debt of $6,478,637. This is the increase is mainly due to the new 2-ton multi-purpose truck that we Ford F-250 and a Holland tractor that we financed through the Municipal Finance Authority through their equipment financing program, short-term borrowing over 5 years. The water fund is decreased by $20,248. It's got a balance in our water debt of $112,382. Our sewer fund is decreased by $63,926 for a balance of $215,202, which includes a retirement of debt borrowed under Bylaw 892. Under Note 9, our landfill and post-closure liability. The estimated life of the Osoyoos sanitary landfill is increased by 2 years, with the estimated remaining life of 24 years. The post-closure liability that is funded to December 31st, 2018 is $176,000. The total estimated cost for the landfill post-closure is $946,000. Under tangible capital assets, our net book value for tangible capital assets is increased by $3,899,141 with a balance of $69,223,920. Under restricted surpluses, this is reserves for future expenditures. Total balance of $9,093,752 is broken down as follows. Our general fund has $4,635,404, up from $3,181,298 in 2017. The land acquisition fund is increased by $1,120,000 $100,000 from the sale of metal arc lands in 2018. Our CMP reserve fund is increased by $206,730, has a balance of $707,649 due to the funds received from traffic fine revenues and unused RCMP funds collected through taxation. Our water fund has $2,847,244. This is up from $2,364,024 in 2017. And our sewer fund has $1,611,104, up from $1,208,204 in 2017. Under our schedule of property and other taxes, our net taxation was $3,898,600, or $3,898,668. Under our consolidated revenues and expenditures by object, our excess revenue over expenditures was $6,023,225 for 2018. It also shows the level of subsidization through taxation for protective, transportation, recreation, and cultural services. Under the cemetery care fund, this fund is increased by $3,723 to a balance of $94,465 for 2018. And then into the Sun Bowl Arena, we have a cash surplus of $111.18 for 2018, much smaller than 2017. So implications under community: financial accountability to the community, organizationally, financial accountability to council and to staff. Significant dates: financial statements must be approved and sent to the Ministry of Community, Sport and Cultural Development by the statutory deadline of May 15th. Any options before council? For council to approve the Town of Osoyoos and Sun Bowl Arena audited financial statements as presented, and that's the recommendation for council.
Thank you very much, Mr. Zackel. It always sort of amazes me that when you come up with all of these things and you can rattle off the numbers so quickly. So we appreciate all of the work that you do to make this presentable, and we certainly thank Grant Thornton for agreeing that you're doing a great job and that we're in good financial shape. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Council, would anybody like to move this up? Councillor Rhodes.
Thank you, Mayor McCordoff. I'll move the staff recommended option, number 1.
Thank you. Thank you. Councillor Harvey is seconding that. Any concerns or questions? No? Councillor King.
I don't have a concern. I just have a question. Maybe I think the town's in great shape. The way I read this, and if I understood it right, we actually have about $6 million in surplus in cash. Now, is that kind of just operating, or is it split into the 3 departments?
It is segregated, so you've got a total of, I believe it's a little bit more than that. Get to that page. $9,093,000 is basically what our cash surplus is. Water, sewer, and general funds. In our general fund, there's a lot that are segregated, like land acquisition, RCMP. They're set up as a statutory reserve. So the council's made a resolution to spend that money for that particular purpose, so it has to be utilized for that particular purpose. So that's how the monies are broken out. So yeah, we are in decent financial shape at this time. But likewise, there's always lots of capital projects moving forward where council's always being inundated. How do we pay for this?
Oh, no, I respect it. I think that's what I'm just trying to relate. I believe the town's in great shape by having this surplus. And, Jim, I think you're doing a great job and keeping us on track. So, thanks.
Thank you.
Okay, so all in favor of this? Don't tell him how much there isn't. No. Oh, has he written it down? Uh-oh. We're in trouble now. Okay, thank you. The next is correspondence, and it is a request from the Okanagan Basin Water Board to provide letters of support to the ministers, and there are some examples here. As you know, I think for the last couple of meetings I've mentioned that there is a bit of a concern from the Water Board's point of view, because the Rocky Mountain Ridge mussels and milfoil harvesting are competing with one another at the moment, and it's going to the detriment of certainly of our lakes. And there is a very good letter here that the Anna Warwick Sears has written to several boards, including the federal ministers and the provincial ministers. And what her concerns are is that we need to protect the balance between the Rocky Mountain Ridge mussels and the need to consider the ecological, social, and economic concerns that arise from limiting milfoil control. So I can't emphasize enough how important this issue is, and I certainly hope that we could write a letter as well as other local governments, I think, are going to do that.
I just got a question.
Yes.
Is this the board that you chair?
It is.
So are you kind of in conflict asking this?
No, absolutely
Okay.
not.
Just asking. You're going to be putting on a name of something that you chair. I just don't want to put you in
No,
conflict.
and
I totally support the letter.
That's why,
Yeah.
because Anna has sent the letters. But you know what? We're all in this together, and there are representatives from all 3 regional districts on this board.
I just want to get clarity for you.
So could I have, thank you, Councillor Rhodes. What are you doing?
So I'll make a motion to provide the letter of support as requested.
Thank you. Is there a seconder?
second.
Thank you very much. All in favor? I am going to an Okanagan Basin Water Board meeting tomorrow, so I'll be happy to report that we are in favor of this. Thank you. Next is bylaws, and this would be the Osoyoos tax rates bylaw. Mr. Zackel.
Thank you, Member Kordoff. So before council is the 2019 Osoyoos tax rates bylaw before council for adoption. This is to update the tax rates bylaw for 2019 with the due date being July 2nd. The Osoyoos tax rates bylaw number 1351-2019 received first few readings at the April 15th regular meeting of council. The 2019 Osoyoos tax rates bylaw is in line with the 5-year financial plan and includes a 2.93% increase in property taxes. This is an increase of $74,094 in tax-based revenue and new construction or property taxation of $27,146. These numbers have been discussed thoroughly with council and are included in council's or in the town's 5-year financial plan bylaw, which was adopted earlier this year. The budget for municipal portions of the tax requisitions are municipal, $2,602,915, general debt, $34,800, fire protection, $305,210, fire hall debt, $188,503, and policing, $953,450. The town of Osoyoos also is responsible for collecting and remitting taxes for other taxing authorities and include the following: the school, which we should be receiving their numbers around May 10th. The hospital, $524,154. RDOS, $839,268. The Okanagan Regional Library, $254,205. BC Assessment Authority, $82,188. And Municipal Finance Authority, $400. The average assessment for a single-family residence is $429,687. The municipal portion of taxes would be $972.39. And for an average assessment for business class and other, that's class 6, with an average assessed value of $288,888, the municipal portion of taxes that they would pay would be $1,084.81. Tax rates bylaw must be adopted by May 15th as per section 197(1) of the Community Charter. Community, continued operation and enhancement of the municipality. Organizational, no changes. Budget, tax rates bylaw is in line with the 5-year financial plan bylaw. Significant dates, tax rate bylaw needs to be adopted no later than May 15th. Sustainability, working to ensure maintaining levels of service for the community and financial sustainability for the town. Options before council, option 1, to adopt Osoyoos tax rates bylaw 1351-2019. Option 2, to rescind third reading and make further changes and bring forward to council. And recommendation before council is option number 1. Tax rates bylaw is in line with 5-year financial plan bylaw and needs to be adopted no later than May 15th as legislated by the Community Charter.
Thank you. Council, do we have somebody who would like to make a motion here? Councillor Bennett?
I would move we adopt the Osoyoos tax rates bylaw 1351, 2019.
Thank you. Is there a seconder for that? Councillor Rhodes? Any questions? All in favor? Thank you. And the next is the 5-year financial plan amendment bylaw. Mr. Zackel?
Thank you. So at any time that we have changes to our financial plan that require updating it, we bring it forward as a amending bylaw. So this is 5-year financial plan amendment bylaw 1349.01 2019. Section 165.2 of the Community Charter states the financial plan may be amended by bylaw at any time. A financial plan must set out the proposed expenditures by the municipality, proposed revenue sources, and proposed transfers between funds. The information must set out for each of the 5 years covered in the financial plan. The Act requires certain particulars must be included. However, the amount of detail is a matter for local determination. The financial plan must not plan for a deficit, and the total proposed revenue sources plus transfers from other funds must not exceed the total of proposed expenditures and transfer to other funds. 5-year financial plan amendment bylaw 1349.01 2019 is being brought forward for Council's consideration. The purpose of this amending financial plan is to add a project called Evacuation Route Planning, Town of Osoyoos, in the amount of $25,000, which is being fully funded from the Community Emergency Preparedness Fund through the UBCM approved by the province. This project was originally discussed in November 2018 for Council to approve the grant application, but we weren't allowed to, it wasn't public at that time, so this is being added at this point in time. So Section 166 of the Community Charter requires Council to undertake a process of public consultation regarding a proposed financial plan before it's adopted. The Act does not specify the format of public consultation process, and it may be varied at Council's discretion to suit the local community. The financial information is available on the town's website, and an opportunity for the public to provide input can be given prior to the Council adopting the financial plan amendment bylaw. So the implications: community. A significant amount of capital projects are planned for 2019 and will enhance some community and improve infrastructure for the town and rural service areas. Organizationally, no changes. Budget, update the budget to include changes referenced above. Significant dates, public input into the financial plan after first 3 readings and prior to Council consideration for adoption. Sustainability, working to ensure maintaining levels of service for the community and financial sustainability for the town. Options before Council for Council to give first 3 readings to 5-year financial plan amendment bylaw 1349.01 2019. Option 2, to defer making any decision until next regular meeting of Council. Option 3, to not change 5-year financial plan bylaw 1349 2019. And the recommendation from staff is option number 1. Adding this fully funded project will give the town the ability to have an up-to-date evacuation plan in place just in case of emergency.
Thank you very much. I had a question. Is this evacuation plan being prepared this year? Is it going to be in-house, or are we hiring somebody to do it? Oh, thank you, Ms. Van Viana.
Yes, it did go out to request for proposals, and pending the adoption of this bylaw, we will be awarding it to a contractor.
Oh, good.
Yes.
Okay. And how long might it take? Do we know?
It's estimated it will take a year up until, I believe, February of 2020.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Thank you. So we need a council motion here. Anybody? Councillor Rhodes?
Thank you, Mayor McCordoff. I'll move the staff recommended option number 1.
Thank you. Is there a seconder for that? Thank you. Councillor Harvey. Any concerns? Any questions? All in favor? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And Mr. Zackel, borrowing the main lift reconstruction project.
My last one. Okay, so this is to construct, or the construction of the new main lift station is in our 5-year financial plan. Construction's to begin in 2019. The sewer main lift station reconstruction project is a very significant upgrade required in our sewer infrastructure. This is a $5.989 million project, with $3.5 million coming from borrowing and the remainder from reserves and operating funds. Loan Authorization Bylaw 1347-2018 received the following approvals before Council adopted this bylaw on March 4th, 2019, and include the Inspector of Municipalities approval on December 18th, and the approval of the electors through the AAP process on February 19, 2019. This bylaw allows the Town of Osoyoos to borrow up to $3.5 million over 20 years for the construction of the new main lift station. The Town of Osoyoos issues their long-term debt financing through the Regional District as per Section 182 of the Community Charter, who in turn borrows from the Municipal Finance Authority. A resolution from Council requesting consent to the borrowing needs to be made to the RDOS and is shown in option 1. At this present time, there are no funds available for Council to consider option number 2. For the borrowing to be included in the fall debt issue for the Regional District, they have to have their application for certificate of approval on their security issuing bylaws to the Ministry of Municipal Affairs and Housing by August 9th, 2019. Some implications in their community: ensuring the town sewer infrastructure is in good working order. Organizationally, administration work through the process of the borrowing. Under budget, project is in the 5-year financial plan. Significant dates: Bylaw 1347-2018 received first three readings November 19th, 2018. The bylaw received approval from the Inspector of Municipalities December 18th. They received approval of the electors of the Town of Osoyoos on February 19th, 2019. The bylaw was adopted by Council on March 4th, 2019. Certificate of approval from the Inspector of Municipalities was signed April 16th, 2019. And like I said, August 9th, 2019 is the deadline for the RDOS submitting security issuing certificate application to the Ministry to meet their fall 2019 borrowing deadlines. Under sustainability, ensures funding secured for the reconstruction of the main sewer lift station. So options before Council: that Council approve borrowing from the Municipal Finance Authority of BC as part of the 2019 fall borrowing session, $3.5 million as authorized through Loan Authorization Bylaw number 1347-2018, and that the Regional District of Okanagan Similkameen be requested to consent to our borrowing over a 20-year term and include the borrowing in their security issuing borrowing bylaw. Option number 2 is to utilize the funds other than long-term borrowing to pay the $3.5 million balance, and the recommendation before Council is option number 1.
I'm assuming option number 2 would mean we'd be wiped out if we went with that one. Councillor Rhodes.
Just a question on this. Over the last couple of years, we've applied for grants to help us out with this, and we've been turned down, I think, on 2 occasions, maybe 3.
Yep.
What happens if they call us tomorrow and approve the grant? Does this bylaw kill that opportunity, or?
No, I don't believe so. Basically, this is just securing our funding to pay for it. I don't foresee us receiving. I think we've been.
Well, we don't have an application in for the sewer lift station. When the last round of grants were called, we very specifically called them up, and because we failed twice, so we asked for some guidance relative to projects that we had, and basically what they were saying is that a project of this nature is a very low priority for funding. So if you want to qualify for grants, you have to pick a higher value of priority for funding.
Wow.
So, for example, if you were applying for a sewer treatment facility, you would have a higher priority than a lift station. This is a very high priority to us,
Yes.
but it's not a high priority to the government relative to water treatment and sewer treatment. So based on that, that's the strategy that we put in place to borrow funds, use reserves to build the sewer lift station. And as part of our grant application process, we went and made an application for the water twinning.
And we got that, so.
Well, no, we've made another application for water twinning, which we're waiting for the results from.
Okay.
That's incredible to hear that. Yeah. It's almost unbelievable they would make a comment like that.
Well, it's the treatment. It's this is kind of a mechanical stage in the sewer management process, as opposed to the treatment. And basically, the priorities are focusing on ensuring that whatever is going into the environment is at a higher standard, or your drinking water is a higher standard, versus the mechanics of moving the sewer effluent through your system.
Yeah,
And I was-
essentially, this is like the lift station's job is to simply move the effluent up the line. So it's a pumping house. It's a pumping station. That's all it is. It's not treating anything.
Yeah.
Or very little treating. Like, we are going to add screens on it, and we are going to remove some of the bigger chunks. But for the most part, we're not treating per se.
I get
so
it,
That's
yeah.
why
It
it's
seems
not a high
important to
priority.
us, though, doesn't it? I mean,
it's
we
very
don't have
important
this,
to
it's
us.
into the lake, so,
And
yeah.
without it, that's the funny part about it.
Well, it's a protection of the lake as well.
Yes, absolutely.
So I have a question.
Yeah.
On here, it's saying August 19th, this is before you'll get the ministry certificate, but you have to wait until August 19th to start working, right?
The plan of the contractor was to start working on September 3rd.
Oh, wow. That's not very-
Well, they may do a couple of test holes just to check out water tables and determine the elevation of existing pipes in the ground, which they will fill back up again. So they're actually not going to start work until after the September long weekend.
Yeah. Okay, so are you making a motion after all of that?
I might in a minute. The first opportunity for an intake on this, we were led to believe that it was a very eligible project. Just because they set the criteria and tell us that we have to comply does not mean that we have to like it at all. And
We don't like it.
people like me will continue to complain about these opportunities. I mean, it was an infrastructure grant program from the federal government. This is infrastructure, and I don't care how you color it or what you call it. It's an infrastructure improvement in our community. It's almost a $6 million touch in a city with 5,080 residents. 83 residents?
65.
5,065.
50.
Just so we get it right. I will continue to complain about these
Yeah.
types of things, even though there might not be anybody listening.
There are a few people listening, I think. Okay, so would somebody like to move option 1, please?
I'll move number one.
Thank you.
We don't want to do it.
Is there a seconder? Thank you, Councillor Rhodes. All in favor? Thank you very much.
Thank you, Council.
Okay, Ms. Van Vienen, Bylaw Enforcement Officer appointment.
Thank you. In order for bylaw enforcement officers to have the authority to act as bylaw enforcement officers and write tickets under the Municipal Ticketing Information Bylaw, Council must pass a resolution to appoint the bylaw enforcement officers for the town for the purpose of enforcing town bylaws. The town previously held a contract with DELEGATIONS Enforcement Services. This contract ended on April 30th, 2019, but while the new bylaw enforcement officer transitions into office, Pat Marshall, which is now Pat Arsenault, will continue to assist with urgent bylaw enforcement matters and assist with locking up washrooms and closing parks on an hourly basis until May 31st, 2019. The town has hired Brendan Gojevic as the bylaw enforcement supervisor. He will begin working for the town as of May 13th, 2019, and will be required to be appointed as such by council. So implications, community, bylaw enforcement resources, no organizational or budget implication, significant dates. As soon as the appointments are made, the officers can officially issue tickets under the MTI bylaw. Sustainability, ensuring the bylaws of the town are enforced as required. Options: 1, that all previous appointments of bylaw enforcement officers made by council be rescinded immediately, with the exception of Pat Marshall Arsenault, whose appointment will expire on May 31st, 2019, and that Brendan Gojevic be appointed bylaw enforcement officer as of May 13th, 2019, under Section 36 of the Police Act, RSBC, Chapter 367, for the purposes of enforcement of municipal bylaws for the town of Osoyoos. officers, or 2, that all previous appointments of bylaw enforcement officers made by council be rescinded immediately, and that Brendan Gojovic be appointed bylaw enforcement officer as of May 13th, 2019. And staff recommend option 1. It will be important to maintain Mrs. Arsenault's appointment as bylaw enforcement officer to ensure she continues to have the ability to issue municipal tickets until May 31st, 2019.
Thank you. So anybody have any concerns about this or would like to make a motion? Good, thank you. Councillor Bennett.
I would move that we go with the staff recommend option 1, and maybe you could just give us a little information on the new person that's been hired and their experience.
Did you want to do that?
Well, we'll issue something once he's prepared, coming to work.
Okay.
Yeah. There'll be a press release related to the hiring.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Are you
Second.
seconding that? Thank you very much. So, all in favor? Thank you very much. And Mr. Dinwiddie, options for Cottonwood Park, the beach area.
Thank you, Mayor McCordoff. So at the April 15, 2019 regular Town Council meeting, Town Council instructed the Operational Services Department to investigate techniques for ensuring the safety of the Cottonwood Park retaining wall until permanent repairs can be completed in September of this year. The following is a list of temporary remedial actions that could be utilized to ensure the safety of the beach area at Cottonwood Park this summer season. So option number 1, supply, install, and maintain a 2.43 meter or 8 feet high construction fence as per the attached sketch from True Consulting Limited. The quoted price for that is $12,842.48. Option number 2 is to remove and store the existing Allen block retaining wall within segments 1 and 2, provide beach sand or riprap, one of those two options, to fill the slope in the void, and install a high construction fence as per the sketch from True Consulting. The quoted price for the sand option is $68,557.48. For the riprap option, it's $71,487.28. Option number 3 is to supply, install, and maintain a 1.5 meter high precast modular block wall complete with sand infill between existing retaining wall and proposed, as illustrated in the attached sketch from True Consulting. The quoted price for that is $71,825 even. It should be noted that none of the above listed quoted prices include removal of the construction fence, sand, or precast modular block wall prior to the actual repair work of the retaining wall, which is scheduled to begin September 3rd, 2019. The implications for the community are improved safety and stability of the Cottonwood Park retaining wall. Organizationally, maintaining the enhanced safety options for the retaining wall may increase maintenance costs. Budget-wise, please note that there should be capital budget funding available for the above-noted project as a result of the cost savings obtained by awarding the repair of the Cottonwood Park retaining wall to DBA Rocks and Blocks. I believe we have $196,918 of funding available. Significant dates: it is recommended that Town Council choose a preferred option as soon as possible. Sustainability: the completion of the proposed safety improvements should provide the public with a safe, secure access to the Cottonwood Beach area this summer. So the options before Council are the Town Council selects option 1 for the partial closure of the Cottonwood Beach area, or option 2, Council selects options 2. Probably the sand option is the cheaper one, so that's probably the one to go for the partial closure of the Cottonwood Beach area. Option 3 is the Town Council selects option 3 for the partial closure of the Cottonwood Beach area, and option 4 is that Council requests additional information prior to making a decision. The recommendation of the administration is that Council adopt option number 1.
Thank you, and thank you for looking into this, because we were concerned about having the entire beach closed off for all summer, and it seemed like a better option to do something. Councillor Rhodes.
Thank you, Mayor McCordoff. Just a quick question. On the upper surface, not on the beach area, there's some separation where the wall is.
Yep, that's because the wall's falling over. Yep.
Yeah, I get that. Are we doing anything to mitigate that, or?
When we repair the wall, all of that upper asphalt will be gone, the railing will be gone, the wall will be gone, we'll repair it all. Immediately, no, we're not doing anything.
Would there not be a trip hazard in there of some kind?
It's pretty close to the edge of the wall where it's starting to buckle and stuff like that. So if you're walking right up to the railing, it could possibly be a trip hazard, but if you're going to put in a fence, the fence will prevent you from getting that close.
Oh, I see.
right? So the fence is actually up top as well as down below on the beach area. So the fence would prevent you from coming close enough to trip on that.
Okay.
Okay,
Good.
great, thanks.
Okay, so somebody like to make a motion on one of these options? Councillor Rhodes.
Thank you, Member Kordoff. I'll move option number 1.
Thank you. Is there a seconder for that? Councillor King. Did you have a question? Go ahead.
So I see that, there, as you just mentioned, there's fence above for safety
Yeah.
and below.
Mm-hmm.
At the previous council meeting, you presented a report proposing to close the entire beach. Would the fencing up top not have been required in any event?
Possibly, yes. Just to make sure that
just,
it's safe.
just to clarify, like the amount of money in here, we would have incurred some cost for fencing regardless?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes,
Thank
you would have incurred some cost to close the entire area, yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's been moved and seconded that we go with option number 1. All in favor? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So they can get started on this pretty quickly. then,
I
eh?
will tell the consultant today, and he'll
Okay.
get in touch with the contractor, and hopefully the fencing will be up, hopefully by the weekend, I would think.
Yeah, that would be good to have it done before it gets super busy here on the long weekend.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
No worries.
Now, we have 2 added things here, and I'm not sure which one comes first. The bylaw, okay. So this was added to the agenda, and it's a bylaw enforcement officer's patches. Miss Van Vienen.
Thank you. So previously, the town contracted out bylaw enforcement services, and it was up to the contractor to supply uniforms and how they identified themselves on the uniforms. The town is bringing the bylaw enforcement operations in-house, and staff are currently working on patches and epaulettes. Attached are options for epaulettes and the patches. One preference was the use of the old coat of arms for the town of Osoyoos. In researching, it was found that the town has a coat of arms that was developed in the past, but this was not done through the Chief Herald of Canada. To have a formal coat of arms would require application to the Chief Herald's office with a process of development of arms to follow based on the area and discussions with qualified individuals, and comes with a cost that appears to be upwards of $3,500 or more, and the process could take up to 14 months. Therefore, rather than referring to the logo that appears as a coat of arms as coat of arms, it will be referred to as a logo as this report continues, as it is not registered with the Chief Herald's office.
I've got a copy of the
The old pin?
Yeah, the pin with that funny logo on it, and it's the one you're referring to that
That's-
would cost us $3,500 to get it. Oh,
That's if you would actually get that as a coat of arms,
yeah.
right? Because
That's
those-
right.
Criteria's changed.
Yeah, so the process is the Chief Herald would then assign somebody to come down here, research the area, and draw and create a coat of arms based on the area and put a story with it. So that's why
Okay,
it takes so long.
this is a little complicated.
That's right.
All right.
So we're going to call it a logo.
Okay.
So there are 3 options of epaulettes being provided to council for consideration. The epaulettes will only be worn by the bylaw enforcement supervisor. So those are the ones that go over the shoulder, so that his role is clearly indicated on his uniform. The Canadian flag on an epaulette is symbolic of a government agency. We can use that or go with the town branding in either color or white and the word supervisor on the epaulette. So that's the first one. And then there are 3 options of arm patches being provided for council consideration. One is shown with the logo, and the other 2 are shown with the Osoyoos branding in color and in white. So community, no implications, organizationally, none. This was included in the bylaw enforcement budget. The epaulettes and patches must be ordered immediately in order to have them available before the summer begins. And the options are being presented, and I've left them blank so that council can take a look at what their preferences are. So that first one, we'll do number 1 as the epaulettes and what your choice is, and then number 2 for the patches. And then number 3 if you don't like any of them.
Councillor King, you're first.
Are we relating to just ordering 1 patch of each?
No. We for the epaulettes, we have to order as many as we need for his uniforms. And then for the patches, we'll probably order several.
Okay, now, are we providing them with a certain color of uniform?
That we're working on right now, and it's likely going to be a pale blue shirt.
So that helps us make a decision on the color?
Yes.
Which one do you prefer?
Well, I know it's going to be not a bunch more money, but to have the color in the Osoyoos, I think it just adds a little bit of marketing without really saying anything. I prefer the one in the middle on the bylaw enforcement, and then that would coincide with number 3 on the supervisor. It's just a subliminal thought, but it does tie into our logo. And it's not going to cost that much more to put the color into the stitching.
So number 2 for the patch and number 3 for the
other. That
epaulette.
would be my choice.
Let's go around the table. Councillor Harvey, which ones do you like?
I would suggest not doing an epaulette at all. It's got a look of paramilitary, and I am against that. So I think we should just go with patches. The people that are going to be working for this fellow know he's the boss. The public doesn't need to know that. The public needs to know he's enforcing bylaws, and he will enforce bylaws. That should be the end of the story. So I think we should just go with patches.
Was there can you answer that question? Was there a reason why the epaulettes and the patches were both chosen to?
Well, the epaulette for the bylaw enforcement supervisor, so that when somebody calls down for the supervisor, that his role is clearly
identified.
indicated on there. Yes.
I don't think it's necessary.
Councillor Rhodes.
Thank you. Where do the patches go? On the arm? Below the...
Yeah, right on the sleeves.
I'd like the police have it up here.
So these ones are epaulettes. They
No,
go here.
those ones are the sleeve patches.
And where would the other ones go?
Yeah, the epaulette goes across here.
Oh, I see. Across the shoulder.
That's correct.
Okay. Well, we'll go give everybody a turn, but I like the ones with our Osoyoos. I think it's really important to maintain that brand that we have on everything, so I like both of those.
Yes.
Councillor Rhodes?
Definitely stick with the branding colors.
Yeah.
Carefully
2
avoiding
and
commenting
3.
on the rest of it.
I'll make a motion then, number 2 and number 3.
Okay, then we didn't ask you yet, Councillor Bennett. What do you?
So I thought he said the same.
No, did he? Oh, I didn't hear
okay.
him.
I'm so like with Brian about the shoulder thing. I don't need that.
So you're not,
So that'd be just number 3 then.
so for for option number 2, we all agree, number 3, the color, right? All right. How about the epaulettes? I'm inclined to think that that's a good idea to have the epaulettes for the enforcement supervisor a little different than the others. I think people pay attention to that when they say, "Oh, you're just the flunky. You're not the boss." So I think it's not a bad idea to have those differentiated, and I would be in favor of putting the epaulettes on.
But I guess another way of looking at it, I'm sure he's going to have some type of name tag on the front also. His last name is Yule, and he could have supervisor there, so it doesn't look so military.
We are talking a uniform here.
Yeah.
And we're not just talking a shirt with badges. And I think that's part of the whole presentation, is that it may look paramilitary, but again, it's a law enforcement agency that, although it'd be a community law enforcement agency, and anything we can do to present that particular type of look, I think, is important to the person who is trying to enforce our bylaws. And it's kind of a standard that's used in very many communities. Our fire department has epaulettes on their uniforms as well.
Same with
Does he get
police.
taser training?
Actually, no, but our person does have
Capabilities.
yes.
Well, I'm just thinking down the road if that would be something to think about.
Okay, so hang on, where are we at with this? Have we had, it's been moved, but it hasn't been seconded?
I don't really have,
We don't have-
option 3.
Okay,
I moved 2 and 3.
so,
We have to do one at a time.
okay.
Number 2,
So let's do 2 first, because I think we can all agree on that one. So option number 2 approves option 3 of the patches. Am I correct?
no.
No,
No, sorry.
Number 2 on the patches.
number 2.
With the color, that logo.
I thought it was 3.
No.
Go
it's
ahead,
two.
Councilor Rhodes. Mine are black and white, so I can't tell.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. I need
So
some
this-
clarity about which ones are which.
So on the
Confused very
patches,
Number 2,
number 2 is this one here.
yes.
That would be the arm patches.
Yep.
This one, number 2.
That's correct.
All right, and so then the supervisor,
That would
number
be
3.
the third one, so this one here.
number
He
3.
put us out of order to see if we're
I
paying
know.
attention.
I know.
It was copied wrong, I apologize.
I was not paying attention.
Mine are in black and white.
So, and mine are in black and white, so that's why I'm confused. So are we going to go with option number 1 first? That would make it easier for Mrs. Hilson. So this would be the epaulets for the bylaw enforcement officer, which would be,
Number
3.
Number 3.
So that is your motion?
Well, I was actually motioning the patch first, but
Here, the first one.
You can't. You
There's
have to
options
do
within
the
options.
the bylaw, that one first. All right.
Yes, well, that's
number 2.
No. This is the epaulets, Jim, and this.
Oh, I'm sorry, yeah,
Yeah.
number 3.
So,
September.
so
Yeah,
the,
we're good. Then you got these
Yeah.
out of order, too.
so that's your motion that we go with number 3 of the epaulets?
Yes.
Is there a seconder?
And
I will. I'll second it. Anybody else want to speak to it? Go ahead.
once again, I'm very confused here. Which one are we, is the,
You're motioning right now.
The epaulette is
for
the one
this
up on the triangle. And
Yeah.
I'm back on board again.
All right. So can we vote on that one? So that council approves option 3 for the epaulets of the bylaw enforcement supervisor. All in favor?
I think that was read out, correct, was it?
That's what, no, okay, against. All right, so that doesn't pass, so we're not doing that one. Okay. So let's go with option number 2 there on the page.
Council
like to
approves
do that?
option 2 of patches for the bylaw enforcement.
So that would be option number 2 for option number 2. You're seconding that. Anybody want to talk about this one? All right, let's vote. All in favor? And that's it then? We're just going, everybody's getting the same. Is
No, we
there,
could bring back the other one if we choose, right? We turn down a color, we could,
Well, I guess the question is the reason that the first motion did not pass is that council does not want epaulets. If that's the case, then pass a motion to that effect so there's clarity for the administration.
is there someone who'd like to use, Brian?
Well, so moved.
That we do not use epaulets at all. Are you
For the
seconding that?
supervisor.
You are? Seconding it. Councillor Bennett? Any other concerns about this? All in favor? So, 3. Okay, so we're not using epaulets.
2 against.
Ms. Van Vienen, we can assume then that there will be name tags sewn on the uniform, or would they be the same type as we have that are magnetic?
It's likely that we won't put their names actually on their uniforms. It's not a good plan to put their full names on uniforms so that they're identifiable. But we would likely identify them as bylaw officer on their uniforms.
And can you do that, or do you need to come back to us?
No, we'll just do that as a,
Are they going to be Velcro patches in case we change officer?
There's not going to be names.
Or do we have to?
They won't have their names
All right,
on them.
I
Okay.
think
No.
we put your last name on.
Okay,
Yeah.
we're finished with that one. Thank you very much. Bit confusing. And the next one is the request for funding Odd Squad drug presentation. Mr. Romanko.
Yes, attached, please find a request for funding from this secondary school. Sorry, let me start over again. Attached, please find a request for funding of a secondary school-based drug use prevention presentation. The amount of requests for funding hasn't been identified. from the community paramedic. However, the cost for the presentations at the Osoyoos Secondary School and the South Okanagan Secondary is approximately $6,000 plus accommodation. The community paramedic is approaching other regional governments and service groups in Oliver and Osoyoos. In terms of implications, the community benefits from public prevention education in our schools. Organizationally, no impacts. Budget funds are available in our community development budget. The community paramedic is intending to have this presentation at the end of May, so a decision at this meeting would be extremely helpful. In terms of options, option 1, council approves the expenditure of $1,000 from the community development budget to assist with the delivery of the Odd Squad drug use prevention program. 2, council approves the expenditure of $1,500 from the community development budget. And option number 3, council identifies another amount from the community development budget to assist with the delivery of the drug prevention program. And 4, council provides no funding to this program. The administration is recommending option 2. The delivery of this program is hinging on community support. Support in this amount will greatly assist the organizer in meeting the identified funding target.
Thank you. Before we start, I'd just like to say that I have talked to the community paramedic, Todd, about this already, because I suggested that he send a letter to the councils and to other groups asking for funds. From my understanding is that he does have some identified funds already. I think the town of Oliver, the OIB, he was looking to check with Rotary, and Kiwanis, I believe, have already given him some funds. So I just wanted you to keep that in mind when you're considering this, because there have been some funds identified already. Okay, so I saw a couple of hands. Councillor Rhodes.
Thank you, Mayor McCordoff. I'll move option number 2.
I'll second that.
Okay. Anybody else want to talk about it? I do know that Oliver has, I believe, donated 1,000. So just so that you're aware. Councillor King.
So they are going to make, if this goes forward, the presentation in Oliver as well as our school?
Yes.
Okay.
And they may also be going to OIB, to the school over there. I'm not sure. They're working on it. Yes.
Thank you, Mayor McCordoff. Very recently, we received some very interesting information about crime statistics in our community, and one of the driving forces behind that is drug misuse and addiction in our community and that kind of thing. And this makes me feel really good to step up to the plate and help educate our public a little bit, a little bit more than we have in the past and that kind of thing. So I'm fully supportive of this motion.
Okay. Are we ready for the question? All in favor of option 2? Thank you. That's carried. Okay. Next, we have cash requirements. So this would be to the general, net payroll, and Sun Bowl Arena financial accounts, and to report on expenditures up to May the 6th, 2019, representing balances in the following funds. General cash requirements of $120,020.64. Sun Bowl cash requirements of $1,438.86. And those would be adopted by consensus. And net payroll accounts of $87,317.55, and that is for information. Okay. And next is the draft meeting minutes of the West Bench Dog Park Committee. Councillor Rhodes, is there anything that you would like to say about this?
Thank you, Mayor McCordoff. Not much. I believe this was on our last agenda as well, and Gerald has kind of added some notes about progress on some of the points that we had. Mm-hmm. One of the highlights that we're looking at right now is that the temporary dog park it's always much easier to explain when you're down there. It's the area that we've been using while the new one is being built. The new dog park area is in essence being used already and is open. We just haven't had a grand opening yet. But we are considering expanding the dog park into that other area down there. And some of the committee members have been asking some of the users in the park whether they're in favor or if they'd like that idea or not. One of the reasons that we're considering that is that in the new dog park, there is some grade issues where it's quite steep in one part of it there. And utilizing this other area, which is not used for anything else in that whole area up there, it's regularly maintained by our public works as part of their regular work, and might add a little bit of flatness to the overall dog park. We do have some feedback from some of the users and some of the public. I'd certainly like to hear some more between now and our next meeting, but I have no idea which direction that we're going to go in. And the other thing that that's kind of interesting, we're looking at dog feces collection in the area. Some of the users have been a little negligent in not cleaning up after their dogs, which is always, incredible because it's a dog park and people take their dogs out there and should clean up after them. And to help us facilitate that, there are some composting garbage disposal techniques you can use, and one of them is to dig a hole in the ground and put a liner in there, and then you dispose of the material in there. It goes down quite far. Once it's full, you cap it off because it's all stuff that's kind of biodegradable and then just simply dig another one beside it, and you keep repeating that as you go along. It seems to work well in a lot of the other dog parks in British Columbia. We've researched it a little bit, but I just thought that would be an interesting point to bring forward. One of the advantages of that is that there's no collection by town staff, and whether the users of the park would comply and do it properly is yet to be seen, but certainly an interesting concept that we may introduce in there.
Councillor Rhodes, can I ask, was the new area for larger dogs and the older used area for smaller dogs, was that a consideration? Because I know that I thought I'd heard that was sometimes a bit of a concern, big dogs versus small dogs.
The new dog park does have a separation for both.
Oh, it does?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that was put in, not as an afterthought, it was part of the planning, once we got to the fencing stage of it.
Okay,
So.
good. And you are planning to have a grand opening at some point, or?
Yes, that's right. We kind of threw around a few dates and that kind of thing, but yes, there will be a grand opening celebration at some point very soon.
Sometime this. Yeah. Okay. Thank you very much. Do we need to accept we accept a motion to accept the minutes of the April 17th meeting, please? Councillor Bennett, Councillor King, all in favor. Thank you. And next we have the CAO report.
Thank you, Mayor McCordoff. Just a few of the activities of the administration over the last 3 weeks, starting first in community services. And the Spirit of Osoyoos Community Barbecue was held on Friday and was quite successful. And thank you to all who participated. And the proceeds will be going towards the Heart and Stroke Foundation, the big bike scheduled for later this afternoon, which has a town team participating. They've offered 2 photography workshops, and they were very well received, so they're planning to offer another workshop in the summer. Sun Bowl Arena will be shut down for maintenance starting May 6th. They're working on signage for the West Bench Dog Park, and once the signage is installed, they're planning a grand opening in May. The West Bench baseball field is completed, and minor baseball has started. In terms of corporate services, they've been very, very busy in the human resources area with the hiring of the full-time bylaw enforcement supervisor, which was mentioned earlier. Also the interviews for the summer students for Public Works, and shortlisting of and interviewing for the senior accountant clerk, the bylaw enforcement officers, and the senior program coordinators for community services. Also, they've had meetings with emergency support services, with the town of Oliver, and to take a look at how they're going to spend some joint funding that was received for emergency preparedness. Also met with victim services, met with the RCMP and the town of Oliver to discuss the future of that particular program. In terms of planning and development, they received 8 proposals on their official community plan, request for proposals, so we're in the process of reviewing them. 2 food vendors are in the process of issuing their licenses, and the Peanut Pond residential development are finalizing their development permit requirements, and the Super 8 Motel was pouring footings for their new addition. In terms of Public Works, they've completed some training, including pesticide application and chainsaw training. The annual pumping service was completed on all sewer lift stations. The water reservoirs are being inspected for cleaning to be developed in the fall of 2019. And they're installing a new electrical kiosk and pumps and electrical upgrades at the golf course lift station. The Calgary company is sewer scoping our sewer systems, and the new traffic island installation and paving has been completed on 70th Avenue in Maine, and they're awaiting the paving stone installation. And again, be aware that there is a new stop sign that has been put up there that will help with traffic monitoring through that area. In terms of myself, I've been working on shortlisting for the fire chief, and we'll be doing the interviews very, very shortly. Assisted in the bylaw officer hiring, also in reviewing the request for proposals for the official community plan. Met with the Palms Strata representatives to discuss land severance, and also assisted with the Spirit of Osoyoos barbecue. And that's my report for today. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Could we have someone move the acceptance of that report? Councillor Rhodes, Councillor Bennett, all in favor. Thank you. So now on to councillor reports. Councillor King.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I attended the Easter extravaganza, and a big shout out to the committee that puts that on. Great to have the sun and see all the little kids running around chasing for eggs. It's actually quite an exciting event. Last week attended in Penticton, Selga. It's just the Southern Interior Legislative Government Association with Mayor and a few other councillors. A few great workshops, come back with a few ideas. It's all South Okanagan getting together to kind of work together for the betterment of the South Okanagan. And also on Friday at that other great event, the Sunshine, and I don't know where that band come. I hear it's locally. They were fantastic, raising funds for the Heart and Stroke Fund.
Good. Good. Thank you. Councillor Bennett.
Yes, thank you, Madam Mayor. April 16th, attended an affordable housing conversation meeting with Councillor Harvey and Oliver, and talked to a lot of people in South Okanagan, councillors from Oliver, about housing. One young lady was from here and brought up a good point. She was a young professional working at a winery, and she kind of jumped on Brian and I about housing and what was available, and Osoyoos and what we're doing. So we had to kind of explain about the whole system. But it was kind of interesting. It's not just people that are working in restaurants and stuff that need houses. They're middle income and they can't afford it. So we're hoping, I'm sure that Brian will say some more on it. April 25th, I attended the Primary Care Network meetings in Oliver. Basically what that is a team approach with, there's doctors, mental health, counselors, Osoyoos Indian Band, and they talk a lot about substance use, correction centers, seniors. Filling gaps between the filling gaps in between the medical systems. And a good example is one of the groups there wanted to do a study on something, and the other group had already done a study similar to that. So instead of doubling up, they're doing shared resources and how they can use counselors from Desert Sun and the hospitals, and how people getting out of jail can end up in court in Penticton, and they get let out and not expecting to, and all of a sudden they're standing on the street and they have a drug problem. Now if they get let out of jail, they give them enough medication and to continue on for a while to try till they can see their doctor. Or if they all of a sudden get let out in Penticton at the courthouse, they're standing in the courthouse steps with no money, no drugs, and within a week they're back in there. Then I attended the same thing with the South Okanagan Interior Government Association, SILGA. Met with Air Canada while we're there. Air Canada was great. They came back and they were going to have the planes come in 9:45 into Penticton and leave around 7 at night. They did manage to change the earlier plane to come in at 8:15 or leave at 8:15 from Penticton. So that's really good news. That also, by doing that, it means that people that want to fly from Vancouver up for business, the plane isn't overnighting in Penticton now. The plane will leave at 6:15 from Vancouver in Penticton, so that should open more opportunities. And also a good thing is with the new Q400 airplane, they'll now be able to be standby for Kelowna. So when they can't get the planes into Kelowna before, they usually couldn't get them into Penticton, where now they feel that Penticton could end up being a secondary place for Kelowna airplanes. And I guess congratulate Oliver on their Community Gardens Award, which is quite something, and really better understanding of homelessness and drugs, because the guy put on a phenomenal speaker. And I think Mayor McCardoff, probably you have a lot more details.
No, you guys have done some of it, so go ahead. Councillor Harvey.
Thank you, Mayor McCardoff. Yes, as Councillor Bennett noted, I was also at this housing discussion in Oliver, put on by Community Foundation, hosted by Desert Sun Oliver. It was interesting. We've seen this before. Community Foundation puts out vital signs every year. I don't know to the extent we looked at the housing aspects, which is what we were there to discuss, but just a couple of numbers. It suggests that there's 0%, basically 0% rental vacancy in the entire South Okanagan. It's, it doesn't talk about one town or the other. The average price of a single-family home in Osoyoos has gone from $515K down to $436K, from 217 to 218. 39% of households in Osoyoos spend more than 30% of their income on rent. So that's that's the food stress as well. There was a couple of interesting ideas that I noted in terms of community land that might go for housing. One was a co-op, referencing the Falls Creek Co-op in Vancouver. There's a program that's championed out of Virginia, Burkett's, I believe, Virginia, and it's a community land trust. And the details elude me, but it's where the community keeps ownership of the land in perpetuity, and so the people that live on it pay for the buildings, not the land. And there's another program, Attainable Homes Calgary, that one of the visitors spoke to, which sounded very, very interesting, which we could look up. I also attended on Saturday, April 27th, Pitch in Canada, to help clean up the canal pathway. Disappointed with the turnout. There was only 3 of us. We did fill up 3 garbage bags of litter, doing the entire path. I attended SILGA last week. Lots of good presentations. Again, on housing, there was a really interesting one from BC Housing in terms of funding that could be available, funding that's going to be available in the future, how they do different partnerships, both with builders and with communities. Attended the community barbecue on Friday, and on Saturday night I did a ride along at the RCMP. The good news is it wasn't as exciting as the shows on reality shows on Tops on TV. It wasn't like that at all. So that's good news. I mean, it's a relatively quiet Saturday night. But aside from the action and the stops, it was really interesting to see the operation, how they operate, what they look for when they're on patrol, taking eye contact with people. What do you look for? Why do you pull somebody over? It was a really quite a fascinating event.
Good, thank you. I should just say that Councillor King and I have also done ride-alongs with the RCMP, found them quite interesting, and I know that Councillor Bennett and Councillor Rhodes are going to do that sometime in the future. Go ahead, Councillor Rhodes.
Thank you, Member Kordoff. Well, I really don't have anything. I didn't bring back any excitement from the SILGA conference because I was not there.
Because you were maintaining the integrity of Osoyoos, so we're okay.
That's right, yeah. And the staff stepped up to the plate once again and never heard one thing from anybody. So did want to comment on the community barbecue from last Friday night. It was a fundraiser for the Heart and Stroke Society, but it was also a community event. And, you know, the turnout there was absolutely awesome. It was so nice to see families out there with kids running around and all that kind of thing. You know, being the chair of the Waterfront Steering Committee, it was one of our mandates to try to bring families back to that beach and provide amenities down there so that that could happen. Just a wonderful turnout. And I'd really like to take an opportunity to thank all of our staff that was there and attended and organized and put it on and did absolutely everything. You know, I know it sounds wonderful to see councillors and mayors and everything out there, but all we did is just hand stuff out to people. It was really the staff that was responsible for the organization of it and the ultimate success of it. So thank you very much. I really appreciate it. It turned out really good, and it was heartwarming to see all of the people that showed up there. So.
For sure. Okay, so I've been busy doing a few things. I was also at SILGA last week, and there were several very interesting speakers that were there. One of them, of course, was Anna Warwick-Sears, the director of OBWB, and you know, she was talking about how to sort of look at dealing with problems with which we know floods and wildfires and droughts, and sometimes they can all happen at the same time. So that was a good, interesting, sometimes a little scary to hear that that's possible. OBWB has a Make Water Work project, and as you recall, last year, they gave an award to communities who had the most people sign up for it. You can do it online. And we came second. So I'm hoping that maybe we can have a better showing this year. And so I would like everybody to go online and pledge, please, to Make Water Work. Just interesting ways that we can use water more efficiently. And there's some good things on our town website that Donna has put on, so that's good. I went over to Castlegar last week to the Highway 3 Coalition, mayors and chairs from Highway 3 from the U.S. border or the Alberta border to Hope, and we talk about what's the best way of dealing with all of the issues along Highway 3. In terms of roads, and we have people from MOTI that come to Ministry of Transportation that come and speak to us. One of the big initiatives that the Highway 3 Coalition has done over the last 10 years is to lobby to get the bends out of Highway 3, the Hope Princeton, and they've done a great job of that. And that's an organized group presenting. We always do a presentation to the ministers at UBCM, and they appreciate the fact that we're all working together and organized, and we've got some priorities listed of things that we think are important. I think from the west side of it, Princeton, Kiramias, and Osoyoos, two of the big things that we'd like to deal with are the transportation, i.e. bus service, that is missing, and the other thing is cell service. There are good spots and bad spots along the route, and it is improving. So that's one of the things that this Highway 3 Coalition is doing. I also wanted to say that tonight there is a naloxone training event on. It's from 6 o'clock to 8 o'clock. It's at the Sonora Center. And anybody who's interested in learning a little bit more about naloxone, about what you should do, what you can expect from it, and if you want, you can even learn how to administer it if you're interested. So that's on tonight. It's also on all week. I think it's in Karamias tomorrow, in Oliver on Thursday, and in Princeton on Saturday. So it's the community rural health group that kind of gets it started. But fortunately, our community paramedics are doing it. I also went down to the lawn bowling club the other day, and I have some information. They're quite organized this year, more so than I think last year, and they are offering 3 introductory lessons. And if you can learn how to go lawn bowling, and actually it was kind of fun. So they sort of showed us. There was 4 or 5 of us, I think, that were not members of the club that were there, and they showed us how to hold the bowls. You know, how to aim for them. It's kind of like curling and bocce ball and bowling. It's all of that together. Anyway, it's fun, and they're a very gung-ho group, and anybody who's interested, please go down and see them. They'd love to see you. And when I was at the regional district last week, Building Climate Resilience in the Okanagan, a homeowner's resource guide, an excellent resource on how to build and look after your property, and really to help with floods and fires and droughts and all that kind of stuff. So an excellent book, and I'm pretty sure that that our planning departments will be getting copies of this. And also to that end, one of the people that spoke at the SILGA conference was the parliamentary secretary for emergency preparedness, Jennifer Rice, and she was here last year, right in the middle of our floods. And Mr. Romanko and I went with her, and he drove, and we went through this much water on some of the streets. So she knows what we were dealing with, and she was very interesting. They're really taking it seriously, gathering information, and they have come out with a report called the Abbott-Chapman Report, and it's sort of an action plan for emergency management partners, and trying to improve the province's resiliency in terms of fires and floods. So, and I do have another phone call this week on the International Joint Commission, Lake Osoyoos Border Control, about the flood levels and lack of them, and the Similkameen, and that will be on Wednesday that I'm on that conference call. So if there's anything to report at this point, it looks like we're much lower than we were last year. So we may not have floods, but we could have, if we get hot weather this week, we could have some concerns the other way. So all of those kinds of things, we've all been busy, and that's it for today. We do have a public hearing at 4 o'clock. So we will be convening that at 4 o'clock. So could I have a motion, please, to adjourn the meeting? Councillor King, Councillor Bennett. Thank you very much. All in favor?